Well, the world has still gone nutty, buddy, even downright cruddy, buddy. Wish I missed the past, buddy, but there's still Buddycast. No, don't be nutty, go meet everybody here on Buddycast.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the founder and host of Buddycast, Nick Sorensen.
Hello, buddies. It's time for another episode of everybody's favorite show, Buddycast. I'm your host, Nick Sorensen, and joining me today is a very special buddy. He's an Elton John fan. He's such a fan that he has created a Zoom group, two groups actually, based on Elton John, has created such a fan base, such a loyal group of buddies who truly understand what he loves about Elton John. My buddy, David Connell. How you doing, David?
Hi, good to see you. I'm doing really well. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Thanks for joining us today, buddy.
You're very welcome. I'm glad to be here.
We're glad to have you. We're absolutely glad to have you. Now, David, you actually have a story yourself. I saw online a few days ago you posted an article. Could you share that story with our audience?
Yes. So, obviously posted all the stuff for Dodgers. So it was great seeing that live. Watching it from home anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the personal connection and seeing everyone obviously out there enjoying it. It really is an end of an era. And for me, obviously sitting at home and seeing everyone have a wonderful time really was amazing. My Elton journey started back when I was about 5 years old. I remember sitting in the back of a car and hearing Rocket Man for the first time. And I was just completely blown away at how connected I felt to someone's music. I had never felt that before. And ever since then, I was just completely and utterly hooked.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That answered my next question. How did you discover Elton John? Like, how did it go from there?
So basically, I remember my parents playing some songs when I was little, but when you're young, you don't really take that in. Obviously, hearing that in the back of a car, I was 5 years old, heard Rocket Man, and that was me. That Christmas, my mother bought me a little MP3 player, and on that I had like greatest hits of Elton and things like that. So it really just kind of started the ball rolling, and ever since then, he's been the most kind of there person for most of my life. Nice. He's always been there and never kind of went away.
Mm-hmm. What are some of your favorite qualities of Elton John? Like, what are your favorite things about Elton that you feel really connected to him about?
I just love that he can bring people together. I think that is my mission statement for my life. If I can bring people together and make them happy, that's me. I'll be a happy guy. And I think for Elton, he does that. He's tackled so many different issues as well that have been absolutely incredible. Look at the work he's done for HIV and AIDS. And not a lot of high-profile celebrities really do that anymore. Most, in my opinion anyway, some celebrities can be very out there for themselves, but Elton has never ever seemed like that. He's always been the one to make sure everyone is looked after. Even these younger artists are out there now. He's very nurturing to them and makes sure that they get the treatment that I think he wishes that he had when he was younger. He's always been that kind of mentor for some people, and that I really admire and respect.
That's awesome. And you admire him so much that you traveled all the way to the United States to see him in concert.
I did. Yeah. Well, back in 2018, he announced obviously the farewell tour. And also there was dates for Scotland and the UK there. But thanks to that lovely thing called COVID, those dates were pushed back. And I just kind of got to the stage where I was like, I need to see him live. I just have to do it. And through my group, we managed to get some people who really wanted to be there too, and arranged it all, and the trip was planned, and I flew something like 6,000 miles to be there, and it was wonderful. Yeah, that was the first time I'd been on a plane as well, so it was a lot to tackle at the one time.
Wow. First time you were ever in a plane?
Yeah, that was I did it all by myself as well. First time in any airport, first time in a plane, did it by myself.
What was that
Yeah,
experience like for you?
it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Airports in Scotland are small. London was slightly bigger, and then you get to the US and the airports are massive. And it's like, okay, I could get lost in here and never make my way out, but we just have to take it one bit at a time. And I
Mm,
managed to make it through and arrive safely. So yeah, the whole experience was very daunting though, going
that
through like your kind of customs and all of that was a very new experience. But once you get there, it's just wonderful.
oh, wonderful. And what was it like when you finally met people in real life? Like you finally met Linda from the Zoom group, or
Oh my goodness, I really can't explain what that is like. I mean, that group started in fact, February 2021. And you have to understand that these people have been a constant in my life since that time. There has never been a day at all where we don't speak.
wow.
And that has been like that journey was incredible. And then to meet them in real life, it wasn't any different. We had salvaged this family, this structure that really wasn't going to be any different the moment we met in person. And it was
Mm-hmm.
just one of the most magical moments I think I've ever experienced in my life.
Mm-hmm. So, how did you find this Zoom group? How did you find the? Tell our audience, for those who don't know about it, tell us about it. And
Yeah, yeah, of course. So I remember I was staying with my grandmother at the time. I was in the midst of moving into my house here. And I remember sitting watching the TV. It was through the whole COVID pandemic stuff. So, and I remember sitting there and all I kept seeing was these advertisements on TV for Zoom, the program Zoom. And I was like, hmm, I- I've never seen this used before. Obviously, but it was being introduced into television sets and stuff as they were using them to interview people. And the more kind of prominent it became, the more I sat and thought I could do this because I've I've been on a few Elton sites and like as you know, and obviously there's these sites and everyone communicates on them via message or statuses and things, but I hadn't actually experienced and seen one where people get together and have a proper sit down talk. Never had I seen one where people actually sat down and actually engaged in conversation face to face, albeit virtually. And I was like, I think this has to happen. I have to arrange this and tried it. I put a post on a few Elton pages just to see if anyone would be interested. And I thought, right, this is a joke. I just thought I'll put it out there and see what happens. If people show up, they show up, and if people don't, then that's okay. At least I know that I've tried. Um, and it just took me by storm the amount of people that really wanted to be there and be engaged in that. It was absolutely crazy. The amount of people that I think we had like from this random idea. I think the first call we had was there was like 30 or 40 people on there. It was absolutely out of this world. And I just thought there is a demand for this. And I kept it going. And we're now here in November 2022. Yeah.
that is awesome. And you have such a family with it, like you mentioned. You have Lisa, you have Linda, you have David. Who else am I missing? Who am I missing in your group that
Yeah,
you?
so well, I mean, the group. I couldn't possibly tell you all the names because it's
Mhm.
such a huge family. But the people, I mean, I can't take all the credit for this. The team I have behind me are the best people. Honestly, they are so incredible people. I have David, who stays in North Carolina in the US. I have Linda, who stays in Montreal in Canada. I have Lisa, that's in Florida, and I have Jason, that's in Brazil, and Brenda as well, who helps on the sister page to Low for Zero. She is in Australia too. But honestly, these people are incredible. We have loads of different people from different countries in the world. It's so global. And
Mhm.
yes, you have, yes,
No, 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 no. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was just giving you the signal. The to tell
that's
you what's
cool.
coming up next.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's incredible. And actually, stick around, buddy. We'll be right back.
cool, cool.
Hi, buddies. It's your buddy Nick here. So, it can be tiring being the busy buddy that I am. From scheduling buddycasts to thinking of all the creative questions to even the real world problems such as work and all that fun jazz. I found myself in need of an energy drink, but I didn't want one of those big cans that makes you all jittery and hyper. I wanted something simple that I could add to my morning coffee or just take as is. and something that I can even just take and sleep better at night as well. That's when I found my new buddies at Magic Mind. You see, Magic Mind is made with all natural ingredients, such as nootropics to help you keep focused and honey to make you feel better, because it makes you feel happy. Who doesn't want to be a happy buddy? I started taking this stuff, and within 3 days, I was more focused. My energy levels were up, and I was happier. All because of this little shot called Magic Mind, which proves one of my sayings that great things come in small packages. So if you're like me and you just want that little ounce of energy, but yet don't want to have all the jitters or want to be able to sleep at night, pick up a case of Magic Mind today. Go to www.magicmind.co/buddy and use promo code BUDDY20 to get a special discount. Tell them Buddy sent you. Now please, go be someone's buddy, and thank you to my buddies at Magic Mind. And that was a little promo from our buddies at Magic Mind. Have you ever heard of that company before?
I haven't. No, I need to look it up.
Awesome. Yeah. Go to, like I said, just go to www.magicmind.co/buddy. You can find the link in the comments and use the promo code BUDDY20 for a special discount. It's a very good drink. But anyways, back to the interview. So through this, you also have had some notable guests that have had connections with Elton John.
Well, honestly.
Could you list off some of those guests?
Yes, of course. There's just quite a few. When I started this, I didn't believe that I would even have guests on. So I started this as just a communication platform for my chosen family now, my Elton family. And then the first person that we ever had on as a guest actually was Ian Beck. And Ian was actually the illustrator behind Elton's probably one of the most popular albums, which is Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. I reached out to Ian, and he graciously came back and said that he would like to do it. And it was wonderful. It really was such a lightening experience to hear all of the stories that we don't know. I like to find the people that are not as prominent as others, who maybe are not in the shadows as such, but don't get the recognition that they should have. I mean, I have had on, oh goodness, Ray Williams was such a highlight for me. I never ever thought, being that little 5-year-old kid in the back of that car, that I would get to speak to the person that handed Elton Bernie's lyrics. That was, when I was told, that was one of the members of my team that managed to secure that call for me. And honestly, I sat and cried that day because I was like, I can't believe that now I'm going to be able to sit down and interview this guy. And he was honestly, if anyone hasn't spoken to Ray, he is the most gracious person in the world. He really is. Who else? I've had Andre Mirapolsky on, who was a designer for the Central Park piano key costume that Elton played in 1980. He was a joy. I've had Annette Murray on, who was wife of Dee Murray. I've had Linda Hannon, who was Elton's first fiance, and who was the person who was behind the song Someone Saved My Life Tonight.
Wow.
I've had Caleb Quay on. Caleb is a diamond of a man. He is so lovely, so gracious. We've had him on like 3 times now, and honestly, he holds my heart in his hands. John Mahon, the man who fulfilled my dreams as a person, he was so lovely, and we've had him on a few times now too. And John Higgins, he was wonderful. He had so many stories. Recently, we've had Terry Carty on too, who was a sound engineer back at the Dick James days. There has been so many people on. We do our own kind of groups as well, just as without guests anyway, but highlighting some members of our group because some of those went to Dodgers in '75. Some of them had surreal experiences in Elton history. Like myself, I'll be 22 in a few days, so I never really got to experience those days back in the '70s. So having people there to talk about their experiences and what they saw back in those days is just amazing, honestly.
That was awesome. You mentioned some people that were on Buddycast too, like John Mahon.
Yeah.
You and Linda helped me get Andre on the show. He was and Caleb too. Those guys were just a joy. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
and they have great stories. I remember Caleb telling me the whole story about rock and roll, saying, "Look, rock and roll has a dark road, and if you don't find it, it finds you." You know,
Yep.
so
Hmm.
that was a true joy. And Andre was just so energetic, so happy, go lucky.
I swear that man is never grumpy.
Yeah. And if he's grumpy, you've done something wrong, not him.
That's true. It's so true. Yeah,
Yes.
honestly.
What about some future guests that you have coming on? Can you let us in on some secrets?
Oh, well, let's see. What I can share is we have one of the people who done a poster, one of the poster illustrators for the Farewell Yellow Brick Road tour. We have him coming on. Um,
Ooh.
yes, that one's going to be fabulous. We're going to focus on some more kind of group calls next year. We're still going to have some guests on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, we're going to focus more on people because I like to get to know the people I have in the group, and the group has grown. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm really, really looking forward to having that call with the illustrator. I think he's gonna share some insight with us, which is going to be fabulous.
That's awesome. Now, what about your wish list? Like, if you could like give like a Santa wish list, let's say, because it's the holidays. Who would
Yes,
be
it's
on
got
your
up to Christmas. Yeah.
Who would
Oh
be on your
goodness.
list?
Oh, that is a good question. Obviously, Elton. I can't say not Elton. It would be so far out to get Elton John on this. But do you know something? It would be crazy. It would be
Mhm.
absolutely. David as well. I'd love to speak to David. David has done so much for Elton, so it would be really nice to have that sit down and thank you to him, to actually appreciate him as a person. Um, I would love to have other band members that I haven't spoken to yet. Davy Johnston, he's a fellow Scottish person, so that would be lovely for me. Um, Nigel, who doesn't love Nigel?
Mhm.
He's just wonderful.
Mhm.
Matt and Kim, those guys are great, and Bernie. Who wouldn't want to have Bernie on? But I would like to try and find people, I think, personally, that were there at the Troubadour. I think that would be wonderful, who had that
Ooh.
real first experience of Elton really soaring into the sky.
That is awesome. You're right. The Troubadour. My parents are actually in LA and sent me a picture from the Troubadour. I'm like, you were at the Troubadour?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, wow, that's so lovely.
Yeah. It looks just like it did in the old days. They might have like modernized it in the inside, but the outside looks just the same, just like the movie and
Yeah,
everything.
I think that's crazy. Like they haven't changed anything, so it's
Mhm.
basically the same as what it would have been most probably back in the 70s.
Mhm. That brings up a follow-up question. What did you think of the movie Rocket Man?
I loved it. I loved it because I didn't take it as this chronological thing.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was going to be fantasy, so I knew that everything, not that it wasn't true, but it was kind of spread out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And the songs weren't in order, but I really loved it. I thought Taran was fantastic. I thought Bryce Dallas Howard was amazing. Robert Madden was absolutely fabulous. Those roles that was cast so perfectly. And the movie in itself is just such a feel-good film. If you
Mm-hmm.
haven't seen it, watch it because
Oh yeah.
it's wonderful.
Favorite song from the movie?
Oh goodness, I think the whole sequence of your song was just gorgeous.
That's awesome. I love Terran's sequence of "I'm Still Standing." That
Yes,
that had
yeah.
me on my feet when they played it.
Mhm. There's so many good things though. You can't possibly pick one in that film. The
Exactly.
amount of it was so it was perfect. Of course, it's going to be perfect. Elton was part of the production. He's not going to let anything that isn't perfect out of his sight. But yeah, it was absolutely fabulous.
Exactly. So, where can our buddies go to learn more about this Zoom group? Where can we find out more?
Fabulous.
If some
Yes.
people are out there and
Oh,
want to join.
of course. Yes. So what I would say is to join our sister group first.
Hmm.
So that is Elton John fans, Too Low for Zero, and it's spelt with the number two, low, and it's the number four, and then the spelling of zero. Um, that is our group where we post a lot of information and stuff. And also get in contact with me. Obviously, you'll see my name on those groups. Get in contact with me, and I will put you in the right direction, and we can talk about how to get you on there. But yeah, that'll be wonderful.
That is Awesome, and they will, and that you should, buddies. You never know who you're going to learn from this group. You never know when someone like John Mahon, Elton's percussionist, is going to come on the show just to say hi, and you get a chance to ask him a question. So please do it. I highly recommend this group. So, buddy, I've got 2 more questions for you to make this an official Buddycast.
Yes.
The first one is brought to us by our buddy Jonas Kane at #Positivity, who wants to know, in your own words, what does it mean to be someone's buddy?
That is a wonderful question. And I've thought about this one. What does it mean to be someone's buddy? To be there for them in an unconditional way, to make sure that they are always admired and loved. And I think that is it. That is the best way that you can be there for someone, to make sure that they're not alone, not judged in any ounce of their life, and be there consistently for them.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful answer. Thank you for that. You're right. Buddies don't judge. Buddies are there through and through, no matter who you are. And the final question that I have for you today is what we call the ultimate Buddycast buddy question. You ready for this one?
Yes.
What is your advice to anyone who wants to do what you're doing? Create a fan group, whether it's through Elton John, whether it's through another musician, whether it's through, say, a sport, anything. They want to create a fan session like you and really create a community that you have created.
Do it. Do not sit back and think, will I do this? Do not overthink it. There are many ways that you can succeed in life. Whether it be through something like this, if you have any goal in your life at all, strive to achieve it, because you never know what can happen in your life. Like what happened to me. I've managed to get this family of people that for the rest of my life I will never forget. That will always consistently be there for me. Do not sit back and overthink and worry about what's going to happen. Sometimes you have to take risks, and sometimes the risks are so worth it. 100% do it. If you need a help in doing it, reach out to people round about you, because I am a complete technophobe. I don't know how to work technology, and I really struggled with it in the beginning. But the minute you get people round about you that are able to help and watch you strive and succeed, it's the best thing.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for that answer. Thank you so much for being a buddy here on Buddycast. It was a pleasure to finally get you on the show. And hey, before we close out the show, I have 2 things. Number 1, tell all my buddies out there, Buddycast is up for Best Podcast in Erie, Pennsylvania. Please click the link in the comments and just give us a quick vote. Vote for some other amazing things in Erie. A lot of companies that are on there as well have been on our show, and they do fantastic work every single day. But number 2, David, I have a favor to ask you before we close out the show. Whatever you do today, tomorrow, next week, next month, even next year, please go be someone's buddy.
Don't doubt that, my friend. I will always be there.
Sounds good. Stick around for a minute. We'll chat afterwards. For all my buddies out there, this is my buddy, David Connell. Please look up the Elton John Zoom group. David, could you actually, if you go to our Facebook page, could you post a link in the comments?
Of course I will.
Solid. So that way our buddies can join. This is my buddy, David Connell, from the Elton John fan group, the Elton John Zoom group. Please jump on the Zoom call. You won't regret it. I'm your host, Nick Sorensen. Thank you for joining us on another episode of everybody's favorite show, Buddycast. Go be someone's buddy. We'll see y'all next time here on the Buddycast.
Well, the days are going fast, buddy, we've got to make them last, buddy, before they've all gone past, buddy, tune in to Buddycast. Don't feel none, it can make it, buddy, here on Buddycast.